Alright guys, here we go. Part 3 of episode 61 with the Aussie legends Roger McLaughlin, Craig Newman and Harry Bruss. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I know the audio isn't always ideal, but you know, it is what it is. It was a Zoom hang on a Saturday night with some of the best bass players in the country. So I figured I'd just put it up here, warts and all, chop it up, trim it here and there, and yeah. What did I miss?
Oh, you missed some really cool dad jokes.
I'm going to be back in a second, guys.
And Harry got me to do something and hooked me in, hook, line and sinker, and I made an absolute fool of myself.
Oh, so much went down.
Yeah, so, all right, while you're there, I'm going to plug Stars, One More Circle Round the Sun. Stars have reformed.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, the band that I was in, back in the 70s after LRB. The fabulous Mal Eastick.
Wonderful player.
Tell me about Stars, I don't know.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Stars were a band, came from Adelaide, actually. In fact, one of their first singles was produced by B. Birtles. And I remember Stars actually supporting Little River Band in Adelaide back in 75,
The only band I know from Adelaide is a band called Goose.
Goose?
Apparently they were like a kind of like a kind of funk fiction thing. They had like a residency.
Oh, okay. Because you realise that a lot of Australian bands, like really successful bands, all came out of Adelaide.
Yeah, really?
Like Glenn Shorrock, The Twilight, Stars, Cold Chisel, The Angels. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, man.
All right. Didn't know that.
Amazing, yeah.
When I first saw Stars, it had one of my favourite bass players, Graham Thompson.
He was the first bass player, man.
He was so good.
Yeah.
He was about 17. He looked like Huey Dewey from, gorgeous young fella. And I
played the bass pretty high too.
Yeah, and I went up to him. I said, "Mate, you are fantastic." Because he was great. If I see a young guy who's really cutting it, I make a point of going up and telling them how great they are.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Encouragement is everything, man. Yeah, Graham Thompson was the original bass player in the band when they were basically just before Andy Durant joined the band. Had a couple of early Quick on the Draw. What was the other single? Quick on the Draw and With a Winning Hand. And then they did Mighty Rock, which was actually Michael Hegarty on bass then.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then they moved to...
What a career Michael Hegarty's had, hey? What about him?
Oh, yeah. You tell me about it.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Fabulous player.
And then he managed Tal Wilkenfeld for many years.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Oh, he stopped bass and was managing Tal for all those years.
God, who knew? Never knew.
Tal Wilkenfeld, yeah, that's a success.
Yeah, Tal. Yeah, so, just to finish the history of Stars, they came to Melbourne and I joined them. And at that point, we were in the studio recording the Paradise album, which has got West is the Way and You Better Look After Yourself, Paradise. And, of course, the infamous live version of Rocky Mountain Way is on that album as well.
I was enough to get to play with Joe Walsh, which was very exciting.
Oh, yeah, mate, you could tell some stories about the Party Boys, man.
Yeah, well, that was Paul Christie with the Party Boys. I played with Joe after that, with Kevin Borich and Mick Skelton.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, how exciting that was. I remember when I got the gig, I thought, I'm going to really... I put a lot of work into that gig just to make sure every note was spot on. Because I used a 5-string Fender with flat wounds. Wow. Heavy flat on there, which was really great for Joe because the bottom end was ridiculous.
Yeah. I had a Fender 5-string once and I sold it.
I sold one too.
And I'll tell you why I sold. I love Fender basses, but I just found I'm so used to playing my Warwick 5-string, which has got narrower spacing. I get onto a Fender 5-string and it's like, the strings are like you could drive a freight train between the strings,
Yeah, I think Fender in general can be hit and miss, and the five strings maybe especially because they don't have that history of it. People buy
Yeah.
Fender generally for fours.
I think once they get active too, it goes into another world, you know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This is one of the Fender Jazz Deluxes, and as it just
Pretty much all
continues.
the fives are. All the Fender fives are, yeah.
Yeah, well, it just continues the spacing of that, and so
It needs to
the
be. It needs to.
fretboard ends up being this bloody wide.
Yeah, can be
And
that.
I'm so used to the narrower spacing of the you can't see it, but the Warwick five string.
Yeah,
And my whole technique for 20 years is based around a narrower spacing.
So how do you find changing from that narrow spacing of a five string to your standard jazz?
Oh, it's weird.
Because that always used to mess with me. So
It messes with me too, man. I find that I play. I don't play as busy, and I play more like a bass player.
so,
So it's
like all of my five strings have got a really wide. Spacing. I can't deal with that little thing.
Yeah, I've gotten used to it. I got so used to it. I sold my four-string Warwick, and I just got so into the five-string that my whole technique, the minimalistic movement across, I've just gotten used to it. When I do play a four-string,
This is a beauty. This one.
Oh, Harry.
ooh,
That's my. Look at the wood on that.
Yes,
My
please.
Ken Smith.
all right. You want to see some wood?
But the Ken Smith is. I spent many years wanting a Ken Smith because every time I saw a.
They're amazing, aren't they, Harry?
Well, whenever I saw an R&B concert or any of the religious guys or Michael Jackson live, they always used Ken Smith because that's the R&B sound,
Yeah.
So I finally found one when our dollar was parity with America. I bought one for $3,000, which
Oh, well done.
is amazing.
Yeah.
And so that looks like it's been played.
Well, you check out here. I think Ken would be upset, but look at how I've messed with it.
Okay, that's good, mate. That's a badge of honour.
Is that from all the slap or?
Yeah, that's from all this stuff.
Yeah. Harry, you've got the most unique slap style I've ever seen, man. It's I don't know what's going on, but it's fabulous.
Can I play you a bit?
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
What's this bass that what's this P bass? Oh, go for it.
This is the 5.
Are you ready? Isn't it a bugger how it compresses like that?
Harry, we can't hear you. I mean, it looks amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
Trust me, it'll be amazing.
It is. This is what I hate about Zoom when you play too loud. It just the compressors.
Harry, that was amazing. But Zoom has this thing where it hears bass and it thinks of it as being background noise and it automatically mutes it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story of my life, but unfortunately, we didn't hear much of it. So, I mean, that's interesting because you would think somebody who's a Jamerson disciple, I use that term affectionately, you wouldn't really expect to look along their collection and see a Ken Smith. So, for me, that's pretty cool to see that you got, a bass like that next to this, little miniature P bass in the background. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that 5, when you've got a tight B string, there's notes that you play in songs that you just cream over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, there is definitely a time and a place for that B string to just go
Yeah.
and blow out a speaker or two.
That's probably why I like playing the Warwick thumb. I dabbled with looking at various five strings and always found the B string to be a little bit floppy until I came across the thumb bass and went, wow. You know, like you go bow, 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 bow. The B string, it just sounded just as tight and as clean as all the other notes, you know.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, with the Ken Smith in Perth, I basically was touring there with Swanee and Kevin Borich, and basically I borrowed one of my best friends' 70s Music Man, because I thought, I want to play some funk. So that night, our hotel room was raided, and both those basses were stolen. My mate's Music Man and that Ken Smith.
Oh.
So gone. I couldn't believe it. So a couple of years later, now how weird is this? I just had this feeling. I looked on eBay and there it was.
Wow.
So,
what?
You know, after a couple of years later, and I spotted it at the pawn shop and put it on eBay. They'd bought it for $100.
So I hope you didn't have to buy it back.
And check out, they basically, the pawn shop filed the serial number very professionally. So I contacted Mr. Ken Smith himself. He got involved and verified to the Western Australian Perth cops. Ken Smith himself said, this is my bass, because each one, because of the wood, is like a fingerprint. There are no two ones alike, and he can verify that that's my bass. So my best mate went and picked it up for me. So no charge. And guess what? 6 months later, what do I see on eBay? The Music Man that was stolen.
Oh, no!
Yeah, check this out. So the guy that bought it was accepting an ARIA award. He'd put it on eBay. He'd bought it from a pawn shop. So he was with a band called Little Birdie. And when he was basically at the ARIAs accepting an award, he got a phone call from his mum saying, the police are here. They want... So what a day for him, eh? And I got that back because when my best mate's Music Man was stolen, I immediately, within a couple of weeks, sourced another old one and sent it over. So basically, because you know what it's like, your friend, you lose his
it's horrible, yeah.
not number one bass. So I bought it, and then when the other one came up on eBay, then I got the one I bought back. So
nice.
It all worked out.
Some guy from Bass Centre.
Guy, yes.
Wants to know, Harry, about your Spectre bass.
Yeah, that's a sweetie, that one. Basically, I personally think that the American NS2 Spectre is the most powerful bass in the world, mainly because I've tried all of them. I'm talking about power. That doesn't break up. It stays tight.
Right, so Harry, yours is an American one. I've got the Czechoslovakian Euro.
Yeah, I had a Czechoslovakian Pi, but I don't know what, it just didn't do it for me. But the white one is from the late 80s.
Is it a 5-string or a 4?
4-string.
4.
Would you like to see it?
We'd love to.
Please do. Just bring them all.
Hey, while he's doing that, bugger, it's not here.
Show me your bass, Rog.
Well, look, I was going to drag out my 64 L series because that got stolen, like Harry, got stolen out of my car, and I got it back 3 months later. It was in a pawn shop.
Oh, here we go. See, when I see that bass, I just think Verdine White.
Yeah, well, he's a copy of it because it's not a Spectre Verdine's.
Oh, he's a Ibanez?
Yeah, I think so. This is the one, exactly like the one that Sting played on Synchronicity Tour.
Ah.
Yeah,
The
Sting. Any of you guys remember these guys?
Oh, yeah, the musician.
Ibanez.
Sting. Yes, Sting.
Ibanez musician, yeah.
Now,
This is my first bass.
do you know what? I had a loaner one of those in the early 80s, and I recorded Peter Couples' Fair of Thunder on one of those basses. So it's not my Fender, it's actually it was the first time I'd ever had an active bass in my hand. So the Peter Couples' Fair of Thunder's played on one of those Ibanez basses.
It's a pretty good bass line too. I always thought it was Robbie Little on that.
Well, there you go, mate. I'm everywhere.
It weighs an absolute ton. Mahogany.
But Robbie Little, what a monster.
Oh, mate, he's a great mate of mine. Robbie, where are you? I'm listening, man.
One of these.
Where are you, Robbie? Yes, yeah, mate. You know what? I actually wished I'd bought one of those 80s Ibanez.
Oh yeah, I mean the electronics have died on it, and I've got
Yeah, but gee, they were great, man. Yeah,
it's almost like like people talk about the Sadowski being the J bass on steroids. You put front pickup on that, and it's like P bass on steroids because it's essentially like two P bass pickups that are in it. That's how they bill it.
That was like their Alembic, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
all right. Seeing as you bought out your Federa, your Ken Smith, Harry, I just thought I'd bring this up.
No, that's pretty. Yeah. Come on, where's all the stuff where's all the wear and tear now?
Whammy bar.
Oh yeah, it's got a whammy bar. Now this is a custom shop bass that I got made. Warwick made. This is the thumb bass. It's made to my specs. It's got swamp ash and purple heart, and it's actually got Brazilian rosewood on the fingerboard. Got lotus flower inlays.
Beautiful.
And it's got a whammy bar.
Have you been over to Markneukirchen, the factory, Roger?
No, I haven't. And no, but I'd like to. But I guess it is a 5, but I've actually got it strung with a high C. So it's E, high C. So it's more of a solo instrument. But yeah, it's a beautiful bass. Quite light too.
Yeah.
Somebody, Dan Kinnaird in the questions has got a question for you, Craig. He wants to ask you about your swap from Warwick to Sadowski. I can see both in the background, plus some fenders and stuff like that. But
those I've got a couple of Warwick basses that were made for me when I was doing Hey Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Custom built.
6 strings? Were you playing 6s?
No, I've never played a 6 string.
Okay. And basic and stick. I remember you one.
Well, grab them, please.
Sure. Show and tell.
I seem to recall Craig getting a streamer bass made. When it arrived, they'd made it in the narrower spacing, so that he sent it back.
Okay, so that's fretless.
Whoa.
Which is beautiful, like neck through.
Stunning, man.
The bottom B string is it's like playing a Steinway piano. It's just
well, they are, aren't they, man?
And I had the same, fretted.
Nice with the maple fingerboard.
Maple, swamp ash. Very wide spacing though, not.
Yes, you go for the wide spacing, don't you? Yeah, you're used to it.
Your bass that you brought up there, that looks pretty wide, Roger. Guy says it needs a bigger.
Which one?
The thumb.
No, it's not.
No, the whammy bar one.
Oh no, it's not, man. I know it looks like it is, but it's really...
maybe it's just got such a massive bridge.
So there's the Sadowski.
Yeah, no, it's not, man. It's exactly the same as that one.
Yeah, right. Optical illusion.
Maybe it's a little wider back there, but judging right, no, maybe a mil, but no, it's pretty much because I gave them the measurements of this thumb bass to make this one, Right. Gee, those lights look good on it, don't they?
Pretty cool, yeah.
Hey, I must take this with me everywhere.
That's a pretty sexy top on that, Craig. Is that like a tiger? Maybe?
So what was the question that you fired at?
Originally, the question was just about your change from Warwick to Sadowski.
Well, I've been following Sadowski's career for like 25 years.
Marcus, I guess.
Because, Marcus was a big influence, Will Lee, and all those guys were, all the session cats seemed to have Sadowskis. So I was lucky enough to be in New York in 2009. So I went to the factory and I spent a few hours there. And I got him to make this up for me, and he sent it back. It was arrived at my house about 5 months later, and he kept me updated with the building of the bass, and that's how that evolved. I mean, I've always been a Fender guy, so This is a natural progression for me for a 5-string. It feels really comfortable.
Looks cool.
Yeah, well,
Sounds great. Hey, check out my Jimmy bass,
Yo,
the Jimmy Precision.
So what?
That's copied off Jimmy's one of Jimmy's Strats. The paper.
I was actually going to bring up Jimmy a few minutes ago because it was his anniversary of his death a few days ago.
Yeah.
Well,
he's probably one of those people that we all wish we'd seen live. But it's so short, his life. But
yeah, so short, but just so impactful. You know, even today.
I think there's never ever going to be anyone like that ever again who's going to be that famous or that great. And I think it's actually got a lot to do with the fact that he did only last 3-4 years, because had he stayed around, he would have melded into being like Stevie Ray Vaughan or one of the others. But because he was like a rocket, you know,
the brightest stars, brightest sharts.
just like the guy in Free.
Brightest stars.
Paul Kossoff was like that. Paul Kossoff, you know, he only had a few years, and
Actually, think about it. How long was the Beatles' career? 10 years?
about
no, not even. About 8.
Isn't that just kind of mind blowing when you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Incredible body of work from like 60.
65 to 70, unbelievable.
Yeah. But still, I saw McCartney here in Melbourne a few years ago, and it's like, man, at 70 plus, it's just absolutely amazing.
Well, Harry can do it.
It's inspiration.
Yeah.
so how's this one for you guys? This is a bit worn.
Oh, that is cool. Where'd you get that from?
In a bit.
Like I've worn a hole in the bottom of that from.
Too good.
Ah.
And I bet it's light too.
Oh, mate, older, beautiful.
Older?
What year is it, man?
64.
Wow, so I haven't got my 64 Jazz. My 64 Jazz is really light, ridiculously light.
And I've got a 63 fretless tucked away back there.
You ever tried the 64 with the labellas? Because then that's Jerry Jamott for you.
No,
Jerry Jamott.
I'm going to do that, man.
Yeah, wait till you hear the sound on that. That is the classic, that is Aretha Franklin tracks, you know.
If you're listening, get me some strings. Get me some of those strings.
Keep talking. Wait till you know.
My address, get them set.
They're really something to take on as well, because you've got to
cool.
play them. But the sound is like 3 times as wide as what you're used to. You know?
Wow.
Right.
So maybe while we're on the subject of basses, could we move on to rigs, amps and stuff like that? Harry, are you a Wayne Jones player?
You bet. I love Wayne Jones stuff, you know, and whenever I've got a gig that warrants his amp, there's something, it's almost, his amps sound like they've already got a sub with them, which is amazing. You know, they really got that bottom, it's addictive too, the bottom end.
Yeah.
I started catching on to Wayne Jones cabs about 10 years ago, 12 years, the early cabs.
Yep.
And you put a power amp with one of those cabs and it's like, wow, it's just mind-blowing. You don't hear that sort of quality very often. It gets addictive.
And I think the stuff with the Wayne Jones thing is you don't need to run it hot to get that oomph. But
yeah, well, you know, his preamp that he uses with that, I use everything I record in my studio goes through that preamp.
Yeah,
it's just sensational.
Yeah, I mean, Roger, I know you think Class D's crap. So does that mean that
What's crap?
Class D?
I'm not a fan of Class D amps generally.
But the Wayne Jones stuff is Class D, is it not?
Yes, it is. The amplifiers inside the cab. You mean the powered cabs?
Power cabs and the powered heads that he does as well.
Yeah.
They're kind of that's like the top range of that world, I guess.
Look, it is, and I've played through. In fact, I've been waiting. If you're listening, I've been waiting for the COVID lockdown to finish. He was actually going to drop round one of his preamps to me, so I've been waiting for that to arrive.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Class D, man. It's just not me, you know. It's too clean, and it just doesn't. I think I really do love my Warwick Quad 6 amp, which has got a valve front end and MOSFET power amp. And
Well, I don't think I've heard you talk about that much.
oh, well, that's what I've been using for the last 10, 15 years. Yeah, I don't like Galley and Kruger. I always thought that they were pretty ordinary. I didn't never like their tone circuits. I just thought that they were really gnarly.
The size of it.
Yeah, I know. I've tried the Warwick ones like that. Look, they're all wonderful and small and lightweight, and I'll just leave it there. They're lightweight to me, you know. But I have to say, in fairness, I have plugged through a mixer into one of done a small gig with Mike Oliphant, and I just plugged straight into his clean audio disc, and he's straight into one of Wayne Jones' new powered monitors, and you know the bass sound that came out of there was incredible. And you're right, Harry.
If you got a preamp in your bass, then
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the bottom end is incredible, and it's all there. And it's look, I think I'm a bit old school, and I do like amps to kind of, particularly the valve side of things, just to push a little bit. You know, I kind of end up in the realm of Jack Bruce or Entwistle. You know, a little bit of grit.
yeah.
Around your tone.
I mean, like what I've been doing for a while is running a Demeter tube preamp with a Class D power amp. So you can kind of get that kind of 3D-ness from the tubes of the Demeter and the high quality preamp circuit.
Yeah.
And you get, you know, if you're I think like somebody said in the comments, you know, it's also the speakers. If you're running a good speaker cabinet, and Wayne's obviously designed his,
Well, it is, man. I mean,
with his amps and stuff like
yeah,
that.
those cabinets.
It's combination. It really is the combination.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just like gnarly sounding bass rigs, you know.
but not amp.
A bit of aggression that comes out of them, you know. I mean, I've sold and played a lot of Mark bass, you know, the 800s and that, and I think they're pretty cool. And I really like the Mark bass 15-inch combo. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic, you know. With and you put a 210 cab on Traveller underneath that. It's pretty cool, you know. But I don't know, this, you know, you just get your sound, and you're just used to how the amp reacts and how that cabinet reacts.
Yep.
And I think I've just kind of got used to it, you know. So,
Craig, are you still running SWR?
I do have one of my main big rig is the SWR Marcus Miller preamp, which was out.
I remember the one, yeah.
Beautiful, I love it. With a QSC power amp.
Is that the two rack?
Yeah, 2 or 3, yeah. And I'm still using my original SWR cabinets from, like, I don't know, when they first came out 20 years ago.
Heavy. Aren't they too heavy?
They're the heavy cabinets, but I don't carry them much anymore, Harry.
Thank God.
But yeah, I've got a few smaller boxes here, but the rig that I sort of take out on the road a lot is either that or if I'm hiring backline, it's an Aguilar rig,
right,
which I really love, you know.
The DB 750 or 751?
751, yeah. I think the 750 was
amazing. Those,
yeah, the best. The 751 is slightly different, but
yeah, right. You
they're both.
Prefer the 750?
I do, but there's not many of them around anymore. You certainly can't hire them from hire departments. Yeah, and I've also got a dark glass amp, and I've had the Wayne Jones rig here, and I've had that out a lot. And I've got an old one of the old original Warwick heads, which I think, Rog, you must have one.
Oh, look, I love my Womp 800. Unfortunately,
That one, yes.
yeah, the Womp 800. Unfortunately, it got a power surge one night, and it just ran through it and
It got a
killed.
power surge. That means Roger was cranking it for 4 hours.
No, it wasn't that. Oh, no, that thing was bulletproof, man. I love that amp. It had a beautiful graphic EQ that went down to 30 hertz.
Yeah.
But you know, when I plugged into the Warwick Quad 6 amp, it was like all of a sudden I found my amp, and I've been using it ever since. And in fact, Craig, when Dominant Music closed down, I got a call from Michael Zachariah, and he said, "Mate, I've got another Quad 6 sitting in the out in the back in the warehouse. Do you want it?" I go, "Yeah."
You got a backup.
So I've got two, yeah. So I've retired the old one that I've used for like 10, 15 years or more, and I'm now using the new one, yeah. That it has never been out on the road, and it's like 15 years old, and it's only done about a year's worth of gigs. So I got two of them.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I do have my old original Warwick cabs, which are heavy, but man, it was a little mini rig, like a 212 cab. Remember that 212 cab I had with the grey vinyl and the red and the yellow badges, Warwick yellow badge on it, yeah, and the 210 with the yellow.
I had one of those. I had a 15-inch, one of those German-made 15-inch Warwick cabs.
Yeah, well, I've still got my 210 and my 212 cab.
Yeah.
The 212 cab is amazing. It's a tiny little cab, but man, it's got a sound. But gee, it's heavy.
Yeah. Harry, what size cone are you using? 10s?
I've got a 15 Mark bass. I've got
Yeah.
3 210 Mark bass boxes. I've got an orange 210, which is one of those ones which is very small where the speakers are facing each other.
Oh,
Behind, yeah, dual contents, yeah.
That's my lounge room amp, which
Isobaric, aren't they? Isobaric?
yeah. I've got
They're amazing.
Well, about 25 years ago, the problem was I was blowing JBLs and EVs all the time, so it was always back to the next recone, and basically, because playing with Kevin Borich and people like that, you sort of still got to pump it out, and I didn't have the real rig. I tell you, I was in Adelaide in the early days, and my rig carked it, and Phil Small came up and said, "Listen, I got a great rig. Just give me 10 minutes." And he got the roadies to bring the whole chisel bass rig, which was this amazing Bell Fender amp with these beautiful Fender boxes.
Oh, amazing.
And so he set that up, and basically I was like, unbelievable. And so Phil is just a sweetheart. He just came to my rescue.
Wow.
cool. So cool.
That's great.
And Phil is one of the greatest Australians' greatest bass players.
I was just going to say, what about
His lines are iconic.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To find those lines that fit with those songs that beautifully, I think
Yep.
he's the epitome of bass.
Yep.
Yeah, man, some really cool lines for sure.
Roger, I was going to say, I was on your website earlier on, and you toured South Africa with Cliff Richard. I mean, there's so much wrapped up in that statement. Like, is Cliff Richard big in South Africa? What was that like?
He was, yeah.
I mean,
they were sellout concert tours, man.
just please
Huge,
explain.
yeah.
My mum's a massive Cliff Richard fan.
So I'm a massive Cliff Richard fan. His vocals in those
Well,
early records are unbelievable. Incredible.
Shadows.
Yeah, that was funny how that gig came about, because it was when apartheid was happening, and
Was it back then?
well, it was back then. Yeah, it was like
Wow.
in the 70. When was it? Somewhere 78, 79 or something.
So it was wow. It was really
A long time ago, yeah. And the problem was that he couldn't get his English band into South Africa. And so, but he could get Australian musicians in there. So the band was Jeff Cox on drums, Peter Jones on keyboards. Tony, yeah. Jonesy on keyboards. Mark, you remember Mark Chu, the guitar player?
I do.
Yeah, Mark Chu on guitar and Tony Naylor on guitar.
Beautiful.
And look, now Mike Clark was supposed to do the gig, but he couldn't get in and out of the country because of some previous convictions. I'll just leave it at that. So it was difficult for him to leave the country and get back in. So I got the call to go and do this gig, and it's pretty amazing, man. I can tell you some stories about that, some that I actually couldn't.
Oh, really?
Well, maybe I could. Look, it was great. I mean, he's huge over there, and the thing is that the tour was put together by Christians. So it was some Christian church had decided they were going to bring, because Cliff's a Christian, and they were going to bring tour. So we did Cape Town, Durban, and Johannesburg.
Was it white audiences?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much white audiences. And of course, this is the time he'd had Devil Woman. So we do everything from Live and Doll to Move It, all his early stuff. Here's a great story. We're in rehearsal, and Tony Naylor's playing the beginning, the opening line to Move It. And Cliff's going, oh, Tony, look, man, that's not quite right.
Tony, it's not quite right.
It's not quite right, Tony. I say, Tony, old chap, it's not quite right. Do you mind if I play your guitar, old chap? And true story is that Cliff takes Tony Naylor's guitar and he said, Hank taught me this. So, okay, if Hank Marvin taught you how the riff to Move It goes, and so there's the great Cliff Richard playing Tony Naylor's striped guitar and showing him how it's actually played, And
it was legit. He
Oh, it was legit. Yeah, he could play it beautifully. Hank Marvin had shown Cliff how to play that opening line.
All right.
It was just the little nuances and the little slides and the pull-offs.
Yeah, Hank Marvin, man, he could shred.
Yeah, he sure can.
One of my big influences, Hank Marvin, is where I started, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I pined for a red Stratocaster when I was 10 years old when I saw the Shadows,
I get chills down my spine when I hear Wonderful Land. You know that song?
Which one?
Wonderful Land.
I don't know that. Can't place it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's one of their ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of Apache and then Rise and Fall of Flingle Bunt,
Jerry Lawton wrote all those, like
Yes.
Wonderful Land, Apache. He was the killer. He just seemed to write all the biggest ones.
Yeah, he did. I know, it's amazing.
All right. I think it would be remiss if we didn't bring up the John Farnham.
Oh, that'd be you, Rog.
No, that's you.
Craig, you played with him
Craig.
on his tour.
Well, look, mate, I got a lucky break. It was, the recording of, that album is just amazing, Whispering Jack. But basically, I just got a call. I think De Hirschfelder might have dialed me in. Basically everything on that album is programmed. The bass and that. And I think they were trying to. I don't know what was going on, but they just weren't happy with what the bass was doing. They couldn't find something for You're the Voice.
Approximately what year was this?
86.
86, right.
Yeah, 86. I get a call to come in, and I just bought my two Fenders, my fretless, the one I showed you before. Took the fretless in, and I said, what do you want? They said, well, I don't know what we want. And I said, well, look, play me what you've got. And so they played me an unmixed version of You're the Voice. And they had a bit of like programmed DX7 bass going, dog, boom, boom, but I don't think they were just maybe just searching for something. I don't recall hearing anything to go by. It was like, look, we want you to emulate this. It was like, look, you come up with something. So they said, let's have a look. So actually what they did was they played the song, and as soon as I heard it, it was obvious that the song was going to be a massive hit. I mean, in its unmixed state, you know, you heard the song start, you know, but when the chorus came in, for the first time I ever heard it in the studio, I was like, whoa, what about this song, you know? And I'd heard the bagpipe solo in the middle, so I'd kind of heard it, and yeah, hey, McLaughlin, a bit of Scottish bagpipe, Jimmy. And so how I recorded the song in a nutshell was, they said, let's do the choruses. So I did the first chorus, you know, down the barrel of a gun, and I had my fretless, and it's that classic, I better play something, you know. And I, for some unknown reason, I had the bagpipes, that kind of droney thing going on. And so my entry line into the, and I should plug the bass in, I don't know whether you'll be able to hear this, it'll sound just as bad as Harry's did, you know, with it. But that...
What are you saying, Harry sounded bad?
Well, when I say you sounded great, but...
Come on, man.
What? Let me redeem myself. What I mean is,
even worse than Harry's, man.
Yeah, it was really shit ass, Harry. No, look, we couldn't. You played so hard that the compressors kicked in, and all we saw was, but we couldn't hear anything. Anyway, so that entry, that kind of rolling, there's all octave slides, you know. So that was my approach to the chorus, kind of playing in the mid-range.
Fuck, I never play anything like that.
No, me either.
You come round for a lesson, mate.
I better come round.
I know, you better. I've seen you play it. Nowhere near how I play it.
Right, see, but that's the thing, is like, it only matters if the rest of the band are doing that arrangement. But
Yeah.
how often does the rest of the band do the same arrangement that what the original song is? So for me, I'm like, put on the OC2, bit of chorus, you know, kind of get it.
I don't actually play anything in the verses. I don't actually play.
Yeah, no, yeah, in your...
Don't play any of that, you know, even in the second verse. Because the bass drum they had is so big and so bottomy.
Floor tops.
Yeah, there's no room for it in the recording, you know, it's just huge. So, you know, but of course that all disappears once you get into the verses, into the choruses, you know. So I kind of did the whole song, and then I remember them winding back to the beginning. Said, "Look, we've got nothing over the first verse," and I remember them just rolling back, hitting the record button. And I'd already done the choruses, right, and so the hand claps start, yeah, and then the down, down, down. I thought, geez, I better play something, you know. I mean, 8 bars has gone past, and so I foolishly played. And that's what I played. It was just me having a bit of a jam.
Yeah.
And, you know, and a kind of, and a few other things, the other bits. And I remember, and they dropped out a record just as they came to the chorus, and both Ross Fraser and John and Dougie said, they just kind of went, that's it. That is absolutely unbelievable. I said, can I double it? I wanted to double my licks to make them really stand out. I said, no, you're not doing it again. You're not touching it. That's it. It's a take. So honestly, that whole first verse and even second verse licks, it's just, I got lucky, mate. The gods, the bass gods were shining on me. I mean, I'm thinking Jacko, I'm thinking Palladino, you know. I'm just kind of going, I've got to play something, and off I went, and that's what came out. And the rest is history, you know.
And then, you know, came back earlier, I mean, you can play things differently every night, but that initial lick, you know, that's the part of the song that you have to play.
Well, you've got to at least play that ethically. Whatever you play after, that's fine, mate. I absolutely give you poetic license to
don't mess with that.
No, you can't mess with that.
And to be honest, there's nothing else that you could play that would do it any justice.
Well, it's weird that, isn't it, when you hear something on a record that someone's played, a bass player, and you think, there's nothing else I could possibly put in there, you know?
And, if you miss that lick, then you better watch out because the boss may not come in the right spot.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that song, Money,
Don't
Money?
ever blow that lick, right?
Remember that song, Money, Money by the OJs?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's probably the only time that a session bass player got writing royalties from that track. Anthony Jackson got...
Jackson?
Oh, that's one of my...
Remember that incredible bass line? They realised that...
Mate, I quote that quite often. That is one of the great opening bass lines, yeah.
Well, they came to the party money-wise. They gave him a credit.
Wow. Wonder if I could go back to Farnham and get a ride.
All right, we'll start a GoFund campaign, eh?
Oh, mate, I've got a lot of kudos out of that track, you know, and of course it was all over so quickly. Like I did that, and then I put some bass on A Touch of Paradise.
Great song, great Ross Wilson tune.
Yeah, the great Ross. My only beef about that is that I wish they had have actually mixed the bass a bit louder in both of those songs. The bass is back in the mix, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, wherever I lay my hat is my solo time.
Yeah. You know, I heard that when he recorded that, he was a tone down.
Who was?
Pino. That's why he got that incredible sound.
Oh, right. So he's just
Tuned toned down. Yeah.
oh, wow.
There is something to be said for you hear stuff drop D, E flat, even like the strings have a different voice.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah. They balloon out more, don't they, for sure?
Yeah.
Hey, have any of you guys ever tuned your bass in a cycle of fifths instead of fourths?
Don't be crazy.
You want to try that one day. It's weird, because it really does your head in. Yeah, like a cello cycle of fifths or a violin.
Yeah.
You've got to probably go for a lighter gauge string, but it's really interesting what falls under the fingers and all the things patterns that you know in a cycle of fourths. Yeah. But yeah, there's something about the way the bass rings in a cycle of fifths as opposed to fourths, you know?
Yeah, man.
Try that. That'll do your head in.
And we've got a tune to 432 as well, right? You know?
Oh, you got to go to 432, mate. Absolutely. Yes.
Well, can you guys believe it's been 3 hours and 15 minutes?
God, it feels like 5 hours. No, it feels like about an hour and a half.
Yeah, like, I was on half an hour early. It's been.
Is there actually anyone watching? There's 30 people have hung in, and I haven't even looked at any of the comments.
Mitch is here. Andrew Fry is here. Joseph Fernandez,
Hey, brother.
Powers, Joe Farah, Guy Palmer, Mark Perrick. People.
Paul Matthews, Craig Strain. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh yes, Craig Strain's there. Yeah. Wow. What?
I guess
Dad jokes, Dale Powers. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been hang on, report a comment.
It's like,
no, cancel.
I leave the room for 2 minutes and the dad jokes happen.
I know, they did, yeah.
Everything went to shit when you left, Craig.
It did. We didn't know what to do, man.
Oh.
So Craig, just give me the Craig Strain. Give me the Craig Strain story.
Oh, far out.
Yeah, well, you know, and can I just say that I absolutely love that new track you put up, Pickpocket. What's that song called? How About It?
How about it? Yeah.
Man, that is fantastic. Like, really, I'm going, wow, this is really cool. And a fabulous groove, man. I mean, Matty just in the pocket. But both of you guys are just in the pocket so deep. It's really cool.
Well, I mean, you know what it's like when you find a drummer that you just, first note, you're like, man, we just feel subdivisions the same way. And
yeah.
You feel the song forms in the same way as well, so intensities and moving between sections.
I'm like that with Jerry Pantazis. He's like a glove that goes on my hand. Yeah.
But my story is...
Yes, your story.
It's not bad, isn't it, the old Jezza?
He's all right. Sorry, Craig. Yes, yes, Craig. He is. He's my favourite drummer.
Born in Scotland, 82, obviously, and lived there until 2011. So I met my partner Ali, who's Kiwi from
Oh wow.
North Island, from Hawke's Bay, Roger,
Bay, yeah. Wow.
the fruit bowl.
Yeah, no, well.
So we met back in Scotland like nine years ago, and back then I was doing, I was working in a studio. I was an engineer in the studio, so I was producing and stuff like that. Doing wedding band stuff. I was doing a bit of primary school music education, so taking classes of like 20 kids for, you know, whole bunch of crazy music stuff, wedding band gigs, some original stuff, but the kind of pop rock stuff that I was doing. And so I met Ali, my partner, and we lived in Scotland for a bit, and then we moved to Vancouver in Canada for a couple of years. I did some cruise ships when I was over there. Did Alaska and stuff like that, and then we decided to come here in 2014, kind of permanently. So I've been here for just over 6 years, and it's been Melbourne's been amazing in terms of me being able to kind of do what I want, but still be able to live and survive. Like imagine if I was in London or New York or Berlin, any of these kind of like real big music hubs, you just kind of get swallowed up and spat out. So Melbourne's kind of that kind of Goldilocks size of a city. I think like 4 million people, like enough people for it to be enough work, but it's not too big that you get lost, I feel.
Yeah, you're right, Mel. I mean, and there's always been a great music culture. I mean, really, and in Sydney as well, obviously. But
and people have been so. I think that one of the things that struck me is like people are really willing to give you a chance. Here, like I'll meet. First couple of years I was here, I'd meet somebody and say, "Hey, I'm a bass player," and then a couple of months later, get a call and go, "Cool, here's your gig." It's like. You say you're a bass player, here's your chance to prove it, kind of thing. So that's been good, and I learned a lot. A lot of trial by fire. One of my first gigs here was playing with the Grand Wazoo.
Okay, yeah, that's trial by fire. Yeah.
Oh, it was a trial by fire. My bass hadn't even arrived yet from Scotland. I was filling in for Barney Loveland. Who I kind of knew from doing ships. We'd never met, but we had mutual friends. So he was one of my contacts when I first moved here, and he couldn't do this Grand Wazoo gig, so he called me for some reason. I don't know. I guess everybody else in Melbourne must have been busy. I was like, I'd love to do it, man, but my bass isn't here. So he gave me a 60s jazz, and I caught the tram,
Fabulous.
the Blue Diamond, with my little Eden 112 cab and stuff like that, and did the gig. And yeah, that was one of my first gigs. And then Pat Farrell, another guy, another good friend, he gave me some gigs, and yeah, it just kind of grew from there. But I always wanted to kind of do my own thing. Like I'd been a sideman so much and done lots of stuff for other people. But ever since I'd been playing music, I always wanted to do my own thing. So when I was here and I saw the caliber of musicians that was around me, I was like, I could probably put together something and try and make them play my music, trick them into playing my music. And so that's been Pickpocket. That's been my
man, that's cool.
my passion and stuff like that. And yeah, so we've done 2 albums that I've produced, and then we've got another one on the way. So we're just releasing a couple of singles, and yeah. So the last one's How About It, and Alex Howroyd, who I know you're friends with Big and Horny.
Mad Alex, I love Alex.
Amazing.
Isn't he an amazing musician, Alex? I mean, he comes into Big and Horny with his trumpet, and it blows everyone, pardon the pun, blows everyone away with his trumpet playing. And then, because Big and Horny have a lot of depths, and then the sax player can turn up, and Alex turns up, and he's playing sax, and it's like, what?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you play sax like that and trumpet like that. Yeah.
Play sax in the Tower Power Band,
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things about Pickpocket is that Alex can play sax or trumpet, and yeah, it's a real flexible setup. I don't know. It's kind of unique. It's kind of fusion, but it's kind of but it's funk, but it's not like a straight up party funk band. I don't know. It's just kind of, it is what it is, and I think that says a lot to this to Melbourne, that a band like that can exist and people turn up. Like we sell out Paris Cat almost every time we play, and it's really good.
It's probably it's probably like Pickpocket, from what I've heard, it possibly not unlike, because it's funky, instrumental, it's possibly not unlike Average White Band in a way,
Yeah.
You had vocals, but they were funky, they were instrumental.
Yeah. Absolutely an influence. It's definitely a unique sound with the mix of musicians that are in it. And just get involved in the scene here, in the Melbourne scene. Like, started the Melbourne bass players page, because there's like guys like you, Roger, and Craig, and Kim May. Just like so many incredible bass players in this city that and I just thought it would be great to find a way to connect everybody together, because they're kind of all.
And what a great thing that you're doing. That is something.
Yeah. I get a chance to sit here and
fantastic
talk shit for 3 hours. That's great.
Yeah, but and people enjoy it,
Yeah.
And that's one of the good things about Facebook and social networking and stuff. And I think, it does get a lot of a bad rap, and we do abuse it, but it can be used for good. And I think this is a good thing. Like it's Friday night. In Melbourne in September. I was actually.
I'd probably be out normally getting into the third set by now.
Well, I was meant to be out gigging tonight. Craig, Harry, you've got a gig tomorrow night. You filthy human. That's just not right to be out there playing. But it's shit in Melbourne. There's no gigs and stuff like that. So
nothing.
I was doing this on a Saturday night because that was prime gig night. But I'm flexible, we can do Friday nights, whatever. Because
you have to fit in with the master there, Harry.
Well, yeah,
right, we change to suit the master. That's it.
So.
So, how many bass players does it take to change a light bulb?
None. The keyboard player does it with his left hand.
I have heard that.
Let's not talk about keyboard players and their left hands.
Oh. Yeah, right. Should we wrap it there?
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Yeah, we should before it gets.
Otherwise, I'll bring out the corny jokes.
Nah, don't need that. And Harry's going to play the bouzouki.
Yeah. Well, I'll play the trombone.
Oh God, the rusty trombone. This has been amazing. I've had messages from people already saying that this has been a fantastic chat. So thank you, Roger, Harry, Craig. I've learned a lot. It's been so much.
So have I.
3 hours.
Yeah, I found out things about you, Craig, and I found out things about Harry I never knew. It's really cool.
Same about you, Roger.
Yeah, well,
There we go. And hey, this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for COVID. So.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's why I said before. As much as I love gigging, I haven't missed it, and we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
Yeah, we got to try and make the most of it. Stay connected. Actual face-to-face interaction, not just text messages and whatever. Check up on your friends, face-to-face.
Absolutely.
FaceTime,
Yeah.
Skype, whatever, Zoom. Yep. It's different. It really is different.
And I think it's going to be that way for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I just wish we could have a platform like this where we could all actually play and we could all hear one another, and the whole duplex thing actually worked,
Well, unfortunately, the internet in Australia is pretty fucking third world. It's embarrassing.
It's not good, is it?
Well, it is. Mind you, I won't tell you how fast my speed is.
No, Roger, you have told us how fast your speed is.
I know.
It's all over Facebook.
I know. I'm very smug about it.
Connection is splendid. You look fantastic. We can see all the wrinkles. But we can jam, but maybe there's room for some kind of pre-planned Melbourne or just bass community bass jam record or something. I don't know, because like you say, Craig, we might be like this for a while. So let's really support each other online, because that's the only platform that we have. If anybody's putting stuff out there, Roger, you were really kind, and I'm commented and shared about the pickpocket stuff. If you see your friends putting stuff out there, share it, because that's how the network. It's a network. It's not a bubble. We don't want to be in a social media bubble. We want to be in a network. So if somebody does something that you like and appreciate, don't just go, "Oh, hey man, that thing you did was really cool," in a private message. Actually take that video or whatever it might be and send it on your profile, because that profile then connects with 100 other people.
Sure.
And somebody from that's how it works. And that, as musicians, that's all we have right now. So
yeah, I agree.
If you can do it.
I'm going to give Wayne Jones a bit of a plug, because he's just been putting some new stuff out on Facebook of late.
Yeah, he was telling me he just released.
Yeah, I saw something yesterday or the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I love what Wayne does. Absolutely.
Yeah. And also Brett Garsett. Have you seen the new clip that he just put out?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Absolutely fantastic. What a voice he's got, man.
He does have a great voice, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and thanks to everybody who's watched this and asked comments and tuned in, and lots of people are saying great chat. I think that's the thing as well. A lot of time we put stuff out there and we don't necessarily know how far it goes and how much of a reach we have, but there's been people commenting here that didn't even know we're watching and stuff, and I think this kind of social interaction is something that we miss. So thanks everybody for tuning in and for watching.
Yeah, thanks, man. I wish I could have kept an eye on the comments, but I was too busy watching you guys.
And I can't wait for the bass centre to open again so we can get back in there and catch up on what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, I'm buying stuff online now. I'm going down to Guys', mate. Just come down, knock on the door, and I'll hand you the bass. You take it home,
Steal some pics.
Yes. I know. I bought 2 basses from the Bass Centre in the last 6 months. I can't believe it.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
Together, and Harry. Absolutely.
Craig.
Good to see you, mate.
Roger.
Absolutely. Great to meet you, Harry.
Yeah.
Lovely job there, Craig. Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Well done,
Thanks for the opportunity, man.
Absolute pleasure. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. See you soon.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. All right, so there you have it. 3 hours of amazing chat and hangs with Roger, Harry, and Craig. I want to say massive thanks to these guys for agreeing to be part of my ISO hang series that I did here in Melbourne, and subsequently, letting me put this out as a podcast episode. I hope you guys got something from it. I know I did. I had a great time hanging out with them. And if you're listening to this at the tail end of 2020, then I hope that you've survived okay. I hope that you have a nice Christmas and New Year. And I look forward to coming back in 2021 with some more episodes. I've got a couple more in the can that I just need to edit up. Some more content and some more gigs. In the meantime, go and check out the Pickpocket album. Alright guys, take care, I'll speak to you soon.